So we continue the discussion which we started for AC circuit analysis with the significant components of inductor and capacitor. So inductor and capacitor are peculiar elements that we will analyze them for AC circuit applications along with resistor. But before that, I think we wind up the discussion regarding how we deal with AC circuits, and then we will go for the very simple concept which I think not much discussion is needed. It is regarding electric power and energy. I think that for resistor circuits it's quite simple. For circuits having inductors and capacitors, we have to deal it somewhat smartly, but I am sure that it is very easy and it will not consume much time. So, in general, all like Thevenin's theorem or Kirchhoff's laws or superposition theorem, everything can be applied to AC circuits operating on sinusoidal input. So sinusoidal signal is important. We have got a sinusoidal signal of frequency f, which is angular frequency 2 pi f or omega. So we say that we apply the input, what we apply is a sine omega t plus phi. Since phase is something which is measured with reference to something, we normally assume that this is 0, means we apply input and we compute the currents and voltages at various points with reference to phase of the input signal. So from that point of view, we can say that it is a sine omega t, and phi we normally in the input is not there, but it can be there and we can analyze it based on that phase. So in general, when we say that we have a DC voltage source, we only have voltage, whereas when we have AC voltage source, the first thing is frequency, that is omega, and then amplitude and phase. So DC voltage source is described by voltage, whereas AC voltage source is described by frequency, amplitude and phase. Then resistance, in case of DC we don't include L and C in DC circuit analysis, whereas and for resistance its property is resistance R, or its parameter is R, that is resistance of a resistor. But when we include inductor and capacitor in the AC circuit, in that case we define the resistance like parameter for inductance is the parameter for inductor. Then based on that inductance and based on the frequency of operation, I clarify that all this discussion is confined to sinusoidal input. So for that purpose we define resistance like parameter for inductor, that is reactance. Same is for capacitor, inductive reactance and capacitive reactance. Inductive reactance is J omega L and capacitive reactance is minus J upon omega C. So R, that is resistance we specify, and we specify reactance Jx in general. So if X is positive, it is inductive; if X is negative, it is capacitive. So you might have seen some such circuits. Maybe those who had 12th electronics, or those who have studied rigorously in physics, in basic engineering, you might have seen some, whether it is Z1, Z2. Z1 is 50 plus J100, Z2. Now what is this J100? This J, I will come to it. This is 20 plus J50. So J100 means inductive reactance at the frequency of operation 100. So this is, remember, impedance when we include R, L and and C, either in series or in parallel or in a complex manner, and when we have 2 points, impedance in 2 points is always described at the given frequency. If frequency changes, the impedance value changes. Means resistance of 1 ohm and capacitor of 1 farad will have at omega equal to 1, its impedance is 1 minus Z. If omega is 0.1, its impedance is 1 minus Z10. If I have 1 ohm resistor, 1 Henry inductance, then at angular frequency omega equal to 1, its impedance is 1 plus Z. If omega is 10, it is 1 plus Z10, like that. And then you can, once that idea is clear, you can use all rules for resistive circuits, Z square equal to minus 1, and for all answers what you get of voltage and currents would be in terms of the input into A plus JB. Means the voltage at 2 points. I will explain again in simple manner so that there should not be any confusion. Remember, J is not at all something which is imaginary. All voltages and currents everywhere are sinusoidal. So suppose if we have got this one, the most simple one, which I always like to start with, 1 and 1, and if I apply sine, let us apply now something different, sine 10t. If I apply sine 10t, what would be VO here? This is V in T. What is VOT? So I just, this is a practice example so that the concepts get automatically revised and overall picture also clear. I state that it is very simple. I had tried my level best to explain the crux of it. So what is this now? Capacitance of 1 farad operating at omega equal to 10. So its capacitive reactance XC is equal to minus J upon omega C. Omega is 10, C is 1, so minus J upon 10, it is 1. Resistance is 1, that is R is 1. So 1 and minus J upon 10. So what is VOT? VOT is equal to X induct. Once we define reactance, then all laws, voltage divider, everything which is applicable for resistive network is applied. Only thing is that in resistive networks, resistance is a real number. In reactive networks, impedance can be a real number, can be an imaginary number, can be a complex number. So this upon this plus this. So it is minus J upon 10 upon 1 plus, or let it, I write it 1 plus minus J upon 10. So it is, we goes to minus J upon 10 upon 1 minus J upon 10, multiply 10 in the numerator, in the denominator. So it is minus J upon 10 minus J. Minus J upon 10 minus J, that is equal to J upon J minus 10. Remember, if you want to have simpler understanding, don't keep any part having J in the denominator. So multiply by J plus 10, rationalization. So multiplying it by J plus 10 and J plus 10, it is J square, that is J square plus 10J, that is J square plus 10J, that is minus 1 plus 10J upon J square plus 10, J square plus 10 square, J square is minus 1, 10 square, so 99. So in this, VOT is this into V in T. So VOT is finally, VOT is minus 1 upon 99 plus 10 upon 99 Z into V in T. So that is minus 1 upon 99 sin 10t plus 10 upon 99 Z sin 10t. So that is minus sin t 10 j sin t is cos t plus 10 cos t upon 99. And now, so minus 10 sin t plus 10 cos t, it is something sin of t plus something. That trigonometric simplification is right now not important. What is important is final answer is minus sin t plus 10 cos t, that is it is summation of two sinusoids. Sorry, I am extremely sorry, I have made a mistake by negligence, 10t. So it is summation of minus sin 10t plus 10 cos 10t, that is a sinusoids of same frequency, that is angle frequency omega equal to 10 are added. This will obviously be something a sin of 10t plus phi upon 99. So what exactly a and phi is not so important. Ultimately you will find that there will be a sinusoid of same frequency, different amplitude, a by 99 is the amplitude, and different phase, some phi. Input is 1 sin 10t plus 0, output is a by 99 sin 10t plus phi. So based on this and this and your trigonometric expertise in standard 12th, you can simplify and get the answer. So in the, what will be the current? What will be the current? Current is, you can also very easily find the current. Current would be voltage upon impedance. Current will be voltage upon impedance, that is V in T upon 1 minus J by 10. Multiplying by 10, it is V in T into 10 upon 10 minus J. So again you can rationalize and you get the answer. So by using simple J square equal to minus 1, the concept of impedances, and J sin t is cos t, you can get the final answer should not include J. If it includes J, you get rid of J by putting J sin t equal to cos t. So ultimately, remember, it is in the final answer, J should not be there. There is nothing imaginary, everything is appropriate. I hope it is quite clear. So we move to next thing. Then that is resonance. So what is resonance? If we have got an inductor and capacitor in the circuit, if we have got an inductor and capacitor in the circuit, they nullify each other's effect. They nullify each other's effect at a given frequency, which is called as resonance. So L and C, there are two possibilities of interconnecting them. By interconnecting them, L and C is one way, is other way. So I will explain the theme. Other things which are there, very simple, you can just read through and we will, so there is no point in discussing something which you can read and understand. Rather, I will explain the crux, leave simple things to you, and I will move to next hard nuts in the subject. So this is L plus C, so its impedance is J omega L minus J upon omega C. it is L and it is C. Its impedance is J omega L into minus J upon omega C. This either you can have, or you can have 1 upon J omega C, either way, upon J omega L minus J upon omega C. So this turns out to be J into bracket omega L minus 1 upon omega C, and this turns out to be this J square minus 1 minus plus omega gets cancelled. This turns out to be L upon C, and here it is J into bracket omega L minus 1 upon omega C. Now, is it right? So, both of these combinations, impedance of LC in series, impedance of LC in parallel, that is in series, this is in parallel. So, yesterday only we were talked at small frequencies, the bracket is negative, so it is working like for the series circuit. For the series circuit, for smaller omega, at there this bracket is very important, omega L minus 1 upon omega C. So there will be a frequency for which this becomes 0, means for these to become equal. So at omega equal to under root of LC, which is called as omega R, at frequency omega which is equal to under root of LC, which is omega R, both of these become equal, so they cancel each other. So at resonance, this bracket becomes 0, impedance becomes 0, it behaves like a short. At resonance, this bracket becomes 0, denominator becomes 0, this becomes open circuit. So at resonance, LC series combination behaves as a short circuit. At resonance, LC parallel combination behaves as a open circuit. Now, before resonant frequency, for frequencies smaller than omega R, series circuit behaves like a capacitive circuit. For frequencies more than omega R, series circuit behaves like means L and C, their effect when we inductive effect and capacitive effect. Inductive impedance is plus J something, capacitive impedance is minus J something. So they behave oppositely. There is a frequency at which they become equal and opposite. So they cancel each other's effect. For frequencies less than that frequency, for LC series circuit, inductive effect is more, capacitive effect is less. So out of the inductive effect, capacitive effect cancels part of it. So remaining thing means for lower frequencies, inductive effect is less, capacitive effect is more, so net effect is capacitive. So at frequencies less than resonance frequencies, LC series circuit is as good as a capacitor with smaller reactance. मराठीत सांगतो, LC series circuit हे रेझोनन्स फ्रिक्वेन्सीच्या पेक्षा लहान फ्रिक्वेन्सीला कॅपॅसिटिव्ह सर्किट सारखं ऍक्ट होतं. LC सिरीज सर्किट रेझोनन्स फ्रिक्वेन्सीच्या पेक्षा जास्त फ्रिक्वेन्सीला इंडक्टिव्ह सर्किट सारखं ऍक्ट होतं. LC सिरीज सर्किट रेझोनन्स फ्रिक्वेन्सीला शॉर्ट सर्किट प्रमाणे ऍक्ट होतं. Similarly, LC parallel circuit, for smaller frequencies it acts like an inductor, for larger frequencies it acts like a capacitor. At resonant frequency it is acts like an open circuit. As frequencies become close to resonant frequencies, impedance grows more from both ends. From lower end, effect is inductive. From higher end, effect is capacitive. At resonant frequency, it is infinite impedance. So when it is infinite, the point of inductor capacitor becomes redundant or meaningless. I hope that is quite clear. Then you can have, then there are some graphs which also are very easy. Now, in that, if you add resistance, so if you add resistance, what will happen? If you add resistance in series of R and L and treat it as an RLC circuit, it is very simple. Just I am revising, not much new concept like rocket science is there. R, L and C, and if you have this one, then what will happen? At frequencies, resistance has no role in determining resonant frequency. Why? Because resonant frequency is that frequency at which inductive and capacitive effects cancel each other. So inductive impedance is omega L, capacitive J omega L, capacitive impedance is minus J upon omega C. So at frequency which makes omega L equal to 1 upon omega C, that is omega equal to 1 upon root LC, which is called omega R, the effect is cancelled. So resistance has no role to play in determining resonant frequency. So before resonant frequencies, L and C net effect is like C, so it behaves like RC circuit. At resonance, they cancel each other's effect. LC becomes short, so as if it is short, so it is pure resistor. And at frequencies more than omega R, more than resonant frequencies, effect of L and C net is inductive, so it behaves like an RL circuit. So RLC circuit behaves like a resistive circuit at resonance, like a capacitive circuit before resonance, like an inductive circuit after resonance. So now if I apply R, L and C, and if I apply sin omega t, IT. So what will be current? Is quite simple. IT will be equal to V in T upon R plus J omega L minus J upon omega C. So it is V in T, or that is sin omega t upon R plus J into bracket omega L minus 1 upon omega C. So what will happen? At resonant frequency, this will become 0. So current would be, IT would be sin omega t upon R. And if you plot omega, this is resonant frequency omega R, what we will find? At resonance it is R plus J0. Before resonance it is sin omega t upon R minus Jx. It is before resonance. And after resonance it is sin omega t upon R plus Jx. If we ignore phase, sin omega t upon R plus Jx would be something which is 1 upon under root R square plus x square sin of omega t plus tan inverse of x by R plus tan inverse of x by R. It is minus here in this case, and in this case same thing, only thing is that omega t plus tan inverse of x by R. So if we talk, this would be current IT. So if we talk about under root R square plus x square, what will happen? If x is 0, it will be R. If x is more, if At resonant frequency, this will go and will be 1 upon R. And before resonance and after resonance, there will be some x. As long as x is non-zero, under root of R square plus x square will be definitely more than R. So value of current will always be less. So at resonance, the amplitude of the current will be more, and it is going down and is going down on both sides. This is called as resonance curve. This is called as resonance curve. So for RLC series circuit, the current is maximum at resonance. For RLC series circuit, current is maximum at resonance, and it reduces on both sides because impedance, that is R plus jX, where X is negative capacitor, X is positive inductor. So impedance, minimum impedance will be R, and on both at resonance and on both sides it will increase. So this is RLC series resonance circuit. Now if we go for RLC parallel resonance circuit, what will happen? Again, it is not so difficult. What happens is that in parallel resonance, exact reverse thing happens. At resonance, L and C cancel each other effect so as to make impedance infinity. L and C cancel each other's effect so as to make impedance infinity. So it is R at resonance, it is R parallel infinity, that is R. So at resonance, it is simply this circuit, and at other than resonance, it is net impedance. So it is L and C and net impedance of Z. At resonance, this is infinite, so it is only R. So what will happen is, at resonance, this is infinite. At below resonance or above resonance, this would be something, some impedance, so their parallel combination would be less than R. So current is minimum at resonance. For RLC parallel circuit, current is minimum at resonance and increases on both sides because the impedance of L and C themselves only. So for parallel resonance, IT is like this, is omega R. That is quite obvious and simple. LC parallel combination behaves as open circuit at resonance. So at open circuit, this at resonance, this is open. So impedance is what we can say, minimum maximum. At non-resonant frequencies, this R comes in parallel, so impedance reduces. Impedance of R and something finite in parallel is less. At resonance it is infinite, so it is more. So impedance is more at resonance, so current is less at resonance for RLC parallel circuit. So this is very simple. Other definitions are there, like quality factor selectivity, which you can easily go through. I will elaborate it or discuss it in some kind of problem solving sessions or like that. So I think this is quite simple and obvious. Now let us go for the concept of power, which in the first module also we have skipped one theorem, that is maximum power transfer theorem. We have skipped current source. So here we will deal with power and maximum power transfer theorem. We can deal along with this because for DC maximum power transfer theorem is different, for AC maximum power transfer theorem is different. That time if we have dealt with maximum power transfer theorem, we would have dealt only with for resistor, but now we can deal it for resistive as well as reactive circuits. So what is electrical power? Now you might have seen nowadays there are LED bulbs, so the concept of energy converted into electrical energy converted into light energy, how power converted in LED, wattage of LED is something which is not so easily understood. You had earlier incandescent lamps, conventional lamps where tungsten filament was there. Then it was said that the filaments get heated, but again that light energy is not so easily understood. But you have got a nichrome coil, इलेक्ट्रिक शेगडी तुम्ही बघितली असेल, और इलेक्ट्रिक आयर्न इस्त्री बघितली असेल, पण इस्त्री म्हणजे इलेक्ट्रिक शेगडी तुम्ही जर बघितली असेल तर what you see is that nichrome wire becomes red and gets heated. So theme is now power dissipation or energy conversion. So when it is very easy, you must have also seen it, but I want to revise because for AC the concept of power is very important. So, and for AC there are some terminologies, root means square, that we will also go through. So if I apply voltage V and resistance R, if voltage V is applied and there is a resistance R, what happens is the resistance get heated when the current flows for substantial amount of time. So what happens is that right now how exactly that energy equation is derived, we don't have that much time. Also that is something which was learned earlier, and everything we cannot go from scratch because time will not permit us. So everybody of you is aware that voltage forces current I. Voltage forces current I. Current I is charge upon time. Current I is charge upon time. Therefore, the electric power dissipated, what is power? Electric power dissipated, energy upon time. Energy upon time. Wattage. There are very simple things which we forget either or we have not applied in attention. You might have been hearing units. The electric tariff is increased from say 3 rupees per unit to 5 rupees per unit. What is unit? What is unit of electrical energy? Many of you may not know, it is kWh, kilowatt hour. So unit of energy is watt hour. Unit of energy is watt hour. Watt hour. In that hour is time. So watt is power. So watt second, joules like that. Watt second. So watt second is energy, watt is power, and electric power consumed in a resistance is V into I. V into I is electric power P. Electric power P is V into I. We can write same as V. If resistance is R, V into V upon R, or P is equal to V is I into R into I. So we can say it like either V square upon R or same as I square R. So all these are definitions of electric power consumed in a resistance. Electric power consumed in a resistance. So at any given point of time, electric power consumed is product of voltage into current. Electric power consumed is product of voltage into current. Now what is direction? voltage is measured VAB and current is from A to B. So this much power V implies consumed in resistor. What about this now? What about battery source? VAB is same. What about I? I is in reverse direction. So the power is dissipated in resistance because it is in the direction of voltage drop. When current is flowing in the direction of voltage drop, power is dissipated in resistance. And what about this? Voltage direction is, this is more voltage, less voltage, and current direction is this. So power dissipated in battery is minus this, or dissipated in battery is a wrong terminology. Battery supplies power. If I take 2 rupees from you, my gain is, or my credit balance, there is a concept of, if I take a loan of 2 rupees, then my balance is to debit, your balance is to credit, like that. So right now we are not much interested in that accountancy theme, but the theme is the power dissipated in resistance is positive, power dissipated in battery is negative, because battery supplies power and power gets dissipated in resistance. This concept I am telling because when we go for AC circuits, the things will become very much interesting. Now, so power gets dissipated in resistance. Now, instead of resistance, if I apply a capacitor, if I put a capacitor, actually directly capacitor, if I can't connect, if I connect there will be huge current. So normally I say that some resistance I put, even if I don't put a negligible resistance of wires and all that is there. So in that case, what will happen now? Voltage, small resistance and capacitance. Current will flow, capacitor will charge. I think we go back to first week lectures. And when capacitor charges, what will be the direction of current? Direction of voltage, this is positive, this is negative. Current will flow in the same direction. So the battery will supply power and power will be consumed by this. Only difference is that resistance gets heated and energy, electrical energy is dissipated. Electrical energy is dissipated in resistance in the form of heat energy. Resistance get heated up. Resistance cannot even store the heat. The heat gets dissipated in atmosphere. So after the circuit is disconnected, the electrical energy which is converted into heat energy in a resistor cannot be obtained back. So actually we should be very much clear in definitions. Resistor dissipates electric energy. Dissipates means what? It is consumed for conversion in heat energy, and that heat is distributed in the atmosphere. म्हणजे रेझिस्टन्स मधून करंट फ्लो झाल्यावर बॅटरी मधली इलेक्ट्रिक स्वरूपातली एनर्जी संपते आणि ॲटमॉस्फिअर मधली त्या जवळपासची हीट वाढते. अँड once we disconnect the circuit, there is nothing remain in the resistor. So resist the electric energy which is converted in heat energy and which is dissipated in the atmosphere cannot be used to get back the electric energy which has got dissipated in the resistor. रेझिस्टर मध्ये इलेक्ट्रिक एनर्जी हीट एनर्जी मध्ये कन्वर्ट होऊन संपून जाते, ती परत घेता येत नाही. व्हॉट इज द केस ऑफ कॅपॅसिटर? इन केस ऑफ कॅपॅसिटर the current doesn't flow through capacitor, but the current in both directions of capacitors leads to current in both directions of capacitor plates leads to accumulation of equal and opposite charges on both plates, which is something not natural. Accumulation is not the property of charge. It tries to distribute and we are forcefully accumulating. So it is just like compressing a spring or expanding a spring. Either way, natural condition of the spring is natural condition, means without any external force it will remain in that natural state. Compressing or expanding it in either direction is forcing it into a state which is not natural, and when an opposite is given it will try to come to its natural state. So a compressed or expanded spring, when you apply force either to compress or to expand the spring from its natural state, whether some work is required to be done, whether some work is required to be done in compressing a spring, yes or no? Yes. I'm trying my level best because this is something fundamental, this is something which is not in book. Suppose if now, so I'm sure that further simpler explanation is not possible. Suppose is that it's a table. On a table you got huge 50 kg iron cube. On a table you got huge 50 kg iron cube. Then it is here, and from here you want the surface of the table is normal, not too smooth, not too smooth, not too rough, normal surface. Friction is there, and you want to move this 50 kg cube from this to this. Will there be efforts required? Yes. So you have energy in you, you use your energy in the muscles to do the work to move the cube from here to here. Okay. Now cube was here, cube is put here, so energy is consumed. Energy is consumed. So you lost some energy. Where it has gone? It has gone in the form of some heat because of friction. That's all. If it was smooth surface, or you could have done an experiment where some wheel you have put, and if you put the wheel, the effort would have been much less. But in either case, you acted, energy is consumed, and now this was here, this is now come here. The energy is utilized, is not, you are not going to get it back. Whereas suppose there is spring, and you have put some load is natural condition. Now if a spring and a load, now if you decide to push it up, and again to ensure that there is a rod, I am giving a simple example. There is a rod, iron rod, along with that this spring, and there is a load on the spring. Now if you try to move it up against gravity, will it move up? It's natural condition. Spring loaded with something, spring is somewhat elongated, rest position. Now if you try to move it up, will you require energy? Yes. So you move it up from here to here, to here. It is its unnatural state. The moment at which, its unnatural state means when you move it up, it will not remain there. It was a natural state. You exerted force to move it to an unnatural state. When you move it to an unnatural state, it can't be held at that state. So the work done by you in moving it up is not consumed, is not converted in any other form of energy like heat, but it is stored in the form of compressed state of spring. When you leave the hands, it will come down. Whereas here, it was a stable natural state. You exerted work from moving it from here to here, which is also a natural state. So if you do work in overcoming the force of friction to move something from one place to other place, both of which are rest states, energy which is used by you is irreversible now, because it can't come back. You can't say it is stored. It is converted. Energy can't be destroyed. It is converted into such form, maybe by increasing the overall entropy of the universe, but you can't get it back. When current flows through resistor, same thing happens. When you move some article from here to here, same thing happens. But when current is used to charge the capacitor, or when you move something resulting to compression of spring, there it is unnatural state. So it will try to come to natural state, and in that process it will release energy again. So energy is stored in capacitor in the form of electric field. Energy is stored in an inductor in the form of magnetic field. Energy is not consumed in inductor and capacitor. Energy is not consumed in inductor and capacitor, but it is stored, whereas energy is consumed in resistor. Now, so I think in 11th in basic electrical engineering also you might have seen that. So if I apply AC, so what is power? Power PT, that is instantaneous power dissipated in any electrical element, impedance, resistance, capacitance, inductance, or across any two electrical points is voltage across them into current through them. Vt into It. Energy is voltage into current. So if I have got V in T, this is R, this is I. What is V in T? Now I use some, let us say 5 sine 100t, let us say for time being. If I apply Vt as 5 sine 100t and R is 5 ohms, what is It? It is sine 100t. It is Vt, because same voltage is here, is 5 sine 100t. R is 5 ohm, so current is sine 100t. So what is Vt into It? 5 sine square 100t, which is very important. Sine 100t into sine 100t. Sine can be positive, sine term can be positive, it can be negative, but sine square is always positive. Sine square is always positive. So one sine wave, to that you apply by sine wave of same phase. Amplitude may be same or different, that comes out. So sine square always positive, so energy is always consumed in a resistor. Energy is always consumed, dissipated in a resistance. And what is total energy? Over a cycle, because after cycle everything will repeat. So you can integrate it. You can, phi is there, and you can integrate it from 0 to 2 pi dt. That is energy consumed in one cycle. Energy consumed in one cycle, and then you can average it out. You can average power. Instantaneous power, energy, average power. This is for resistance. Now we will go slowly. I hope that it is very easy. Just I will introduce the terminologies and leave further things to you. Now if I have normally capacitance is less, 1000 microfarad. Capacitance is 1000 microfarad.